How's it going? Fox back again for sound design tutorials. This is part 1 in an ongoing series that I'm going to be trying regularly from now on, called Ableton Only. I'm going to be doing my usual structure of showing you how to make sounds, but it's going to be only using Ableton's tools. This one I've made using analog, various effects. I'm going to turn them off, show you how I made the patch inside analog. I've grouped it so I can add some macros that you can sort of tweak and mess around with these sounds. I'll try and save these instruments. This is all on one rack actually, so I can rename this instrument rack. Let's call it Pluck SEQ because it's like a plucked sequence, and you can have this. I'll try somehow. I've never tried doing this before. I'll try adding this to Dropbox so that you can have this sound. So yeah, I'll go over it again quickly. As you can see, these macros give it a lot of control. I suppose I best move me out of the way if I'm going to be showing you all this bottom panel. Can't make it any bigger, which is a shame, but hey ho. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here. This EQ is just getting rid of some real sharp bits that were in there. So we'll turn the EQ off. The compressor was just bringing it all together. The reverb was quite big. I suppose I could put the reverb on a macro as well. Yeah, we'll do that quickly, just so you can have the choice of whether you want the reverb in or not. So we'll map this to macro 4. In the mapping mode, the dry wet was only on 30%. I'll put it on 60, so halfway will be how I had it, and full will be to push it to extremes if you want more of a reverb than what I had. Was a big part of the sound for now, so I'll leave it on the 30%. So let's turn the reverb off. The filter really makes the sound. Also the chorus. So we'll start from the beginning. So it's just one instance of analog. This is what it sounds like with none of the LFO, chorus, reverb or anything. That start slight fluttering or phasing, that's done with an LFO on filter 1, but we'll turn the filter off for now. Big wide sound considering it's just 2 oscillators. So yeah, in the oscillator section I've got one as a saw wave. It's detuned 0.04 down from center. Oscillator 2 is a square wave. On oscillator 1 I've got nothing going on. Have I got LFO 1 on it? No, I've got no amount. LFO 1's doing nothing. So yeah, oscillator 1 is literally just turned on. So it's just the one saw wave being detuned down. If I turn that off, solo it, sorry. Still sounds quite big. that is because I've got 28 voices polyphony. I've got 4 voices unison with 6 milliseconds of delay. If I turn the delay down, I can't remember which routing mode I had actually. That's a shame it doesn't show you which one you're using. Filter 1, oscillator 1 is going to filter 1 and filter 2, oscillator 2 is going to filter 1 and filter 2, but we're only using one filter. So yeah, oscillator 1, as you can hear, is a bit quieter. With an oscillator 2 in, if we go back to the main page where the routing is on this volume section, yeah, so yeah. 6 seconds of delay sort of delays the starting point of the new voices. The detune 0.2 of these 4 voices helps spread them apart. If I push this up, you can hear it's not a drastic effect. Also, you've got the Unison Detune here. This is how you engage the unison. That's what it sounds like without. If we boost the volume for now, if you engage the unison here, it brings in the 4 voices. With the detune on none, just increases the volume. So bring the detune in 20, so 0.2 of a cent. I mean, you can push that as hard as you want, but it didn't really need much more than that. If we solo oscillator 2 now, this has got a bit more work on it. You can see the amp for oscillator 1 had a bit of an attack. It was on full and then it came down. For oscillator 2, it was a bit more plucky. More of an impact at the start and then it to ring out more at the end. I've got this one panned all the way to the left. I didn't really want that, if I'm honest, so I'll move it back to the center. That must have been something I was trying. So I've got some pulse width mod on this square wave, which is oscillator 2. You can see when we click on oscillator 2, you can see pulse width. I've got the width on 50%. I've got LFO2 modulating the pulse width by 0.8. If I boost it, you can hear that pulsing. Pull it down, it's a lot more static. I believe I had it on about 50. So yeah, modulating the width of the pulse. No, I've got no pitch modulation on either of them, so it's basically just saw wave, square wave with a bit of pulse mod. It's the detune on the unison that makes everything sound bigger. So both oscillators. So LFO2, as I said, was doing the modulation for the pulse width. That is set to a low pass 12. Oh no, low fit. LFO2 is set to hertz. If we click on LFO2, you can see it's this one at the bottom here. Bog standard triangle wave. Nice and slow, doing a real slow rate, giving us a nice constant speed. That flutter that you're hearing is filter 1. Now I've got an envelope on filter 1, so it's coming in instantly, and I've got a long decay of 4 seconds. And as the decay is fizzling out, then you start to hear the LFO moving. Now LFO 1, which is controlling filter 1, I've got this real saw wavy sort of shape with quite a fast speed. If I change it to a saw wave, you can hear it's a lot more plingy, a lot more plucky. If you sort of change the width, it sort of pushes it towards a triangle. So this delay is how long it takes for the LFO to come in, and then the attack is also like a rise. So it's, if I decrease the attack and delay, Doesn't have that much difference because it's the filter envelope that is doing all the work. So if we click on filter 1 again, if I push this decay in, the decay is controlling how long it takes for that fluttering to come in, and the frequency mod is this amount here. I mean, if I boost this, you're going to hear it a lot more. Also, the envelope amount, you could turn that totally off. There's a lot of control on these filters. It's all a bit crammed into this box at the bottom here, but once you work out what's going on, this is the main amp envelope which controls the envelope all the time. This frequency mod is controlling, it's hard to explain. I've got the Symmetry 1 drive on it as well. You can choose the LFO to affect the frequency, key tracking and the envelope. So I've got the envelope set on 4. If I boost it, envelope, this is like your destination amount for the filter. Because I've got it quite closed, it's going to be opening it up. So that was on 4, so the filter envelope's going over the attack decay speed, and then the frequency mod of the LFO 1, which is just 1.35, is then giving it that flutter. And I've got this filter on a notch 2-pole. So it's a notch sweeping back and forwards, giving us that little fluttering. So the chorus, this is, I've got a dry wet for this, the chorus. Nothing spectacular, I literally just turned it on. I pulled the rate and the amount down so it was 0.76 of a delay and the rate of 0.38 Hz, so it's quite slow, no feedback. I always have the polarity on plus for a chorus. What made the sound was this auto filter. Now I'll let you hear it. Now I've got an envelope engaged on this and an LFO also. So what the envelope's doing at the minute is it's closing off the filter very slowly. Well, it's not very slowly, it's 30 milliseconds. So it's like a third of a second. And then it's taken almost half a second to release. So the envelope's just closing it. You can hear that little pluck closed. Just that quick snap closed. And then I've got an LFO set to a saw wave, opening it up the full amount, or 30. It doesn't open it up, open the filter all the way. I've got the rate set on 1/8. So you'll hear what happens if I change the rate of this. It's like creating your own arpeggiated sound without having an arpeggiator on, so. I had it 1/8 because it's a drum and bassy track. Just turn that volume back down again. So yeah, what parameters have I got modulated here? I've got the envelope and the resonance both mapped to this open. So if we look at the mapping, open, auto filter, resonance. So the resonance is going from close to high as I move this round. If I close the chorus down and the analog, you'll be able to see what's going on here. So as I open this up, it's pushing the resonance up slightly, letting some more high frequencies through. You can see this curve's getting more steeper. And also it's changing the direction of the envelope. So it's not snapping the envelope closed, it's pushing the envelope open, which lets more bright frequencies through. So subtle differences, but it does help. I would be modulating that as the chord progression goes on and things like that. We then have the reverb. Now I'm going to turn the compressor on now because this sets the volume. So the compressor's on. I've got the ratio on infinite, just to really smash it into it, just to highlight everything, the chorus and the reverb. dry wet and 50%, 70 milliseconds of attack, so quite snappy and quite a sharp release. Let's open it up again. So the reverb, I turned everything off. I made this preset myself, so I turned the low cut, the high cut, the spin, the high quality, chorus, everything off. I've just got a decay time of 2.2 seconds, 100% size, and I'm modulating the dry wet on here. You can see bottom right, the dry wet is on a macro. 30% was where I desired to have it. I've given you an extra 30% so you can boost it higher if need be. What else have we got then? That's virtually it. Yeah, it's just the EQ that I had on at the end. This is serving another purpose as well. I've got some things mapped to this. If I close the filter, the reverb, you can see more lows, this knob here. If we go into the mapping section, more lows of just modulating filter 1 frequency A. So as you push this around, it's letting in more lows. Simple as that. It's just opening the EQ to let more low frequencies through. This sounds really good as well when the open is low. Gives it a nice bassy undertone. I mean, the world's your oyster with this preset. I mean, you can go into the mapping section and open the envelope modulation up even more if you told it to go positive by 43. It's going to have less effect, in honest. Between 13 and 15 was where I found a sweet spot for it to make that sort of plucky sound. So yeah, quite a lot of control over this. You've got the opening it up, which is utilising the auto filter, changing the envelope and the resonance. More lows, which is using the EQ, and a dry wet for the chorus and the reverb. Quite a versatile patch for just one instance of analog. So it's all about the detune to get you the wide sound, and then fiddling around with the internal filter envelopes. I could have done this filter work. I could have done the filter work on filter 1 with that notch on a separate auto filter, but it's all in here. I know it's squeezed a bit in. The pulse width mod needed to be done inside analog. So yeah, this is a plucky sequence with analog, part 1 of my all Ableton sound design series. Yeah, hope you enjoyed it. I stumbled over a few bits with this analog because, to be honest, I don't use it. Sounds bad, but I have a lot of plugins, so I very, very rarely use the Ableton stuff. I was sort of learning this as I went along. You need to get to work out what the architecture is. Anytime anything's related to volume, it seems to be in orange. Anytime it's related to filters, it seems to be in yellow. In regards to, on this page, modulation, destinations and things like that, it is a bit fiddly. I'll do a full tutorial course on analog another day, but yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Please bear with me. I am learning these synths as I go along, but yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this or any of my other tutorials. As always, feel free to comment or ask any questions below. Cheers, bye bye.